So update 3.0 is here, and before it, a lot of people in the community were talking about getting bored of the game and how stale it's become. I felt very similar, and I want to talk about how I felt about the update and the things I noticed. To me, update 3.0 was a very big recycle from update 2.0. Almost all the content fits in the molds created by 2.0. I gotta say, me and many others are more hyped for the beast units in the actual update. It just feels so stale and similar. The introduction to the story is the exact same as book 2. Kingdom is being invaded by a foreign kingdom that has a big bad and 2 smaller characters, alongside a huge army that we don't really get to see. We meet an ally from one of the foreign kingdoms that's a special kind of hero, and we get for free alongside a special item. Now just that seems like a rehash, huh? Leaf is a direct parallel to Leviathan, and Thrasir is a direct parallel to Loki. Even their classes are almost the same. They're infantry units with a sword and a magic based weapon. We'll continue to fight them over and over and over alongside new banner units to release, just like we did in book 2. Hell is the direct parallel to Surtur and will pose as the big bad guy that's unkillable until the end of book 3. Now even past these characters, we'll probably get the dead versions of Nifl and Muspel's first leaders, just like how Leaf and Thrasir are the first leaders of Emblem and Asker. And as the story continues, I bet we'll fight this exact same characters over and over and over, similar to Legiarn and Hellbindi, and we'll probably get more friendly characters like Fjorm's family. Like, thinking about these parallels, can you see where my frustration comes from? The story format itself annoys me a lot, and it's stayed exactly the same since book 1. Just seeing the art of characters pop up constantly is very bland. Having the story tell you there's an army of undead warriors when you don't even get to see it's very annoying. You can make the argument they get to fight the army during the maps itself, but the units are no different from how they were in book 1 and book 2. The art is exactly the same, and they don't look undead by any means. I don't see why commissioning a small illustration of what's happening would be that big of a leap. Normal Fire Emblem games do this all the time, where they might show an illustration of where they're going or what the objective might be. This brings me back to book 2, where the protagonists were up against Surtur, who threatened to burn a village, or when they were in Nifl being chased. These events felt meaningless when illustrations weren't shown. Apart from that big one, Update 2.0 and 3.0 released with new types of units that corresponded to a specific game mode. We had legendary units that were released every month that were used with the Blessed Isles, and now we have mythic heroes that correspond with Aether Raids and function alongside it. Their integration into each of their game modes isn't even that fun. It isn't even that big of an integration, they just give a couple extra stats, or it's an exclusive type of unit that you can't use otherwise. One of my favorite parts of book 2 were the smaller things we got, like the weapon upgrades for dragon and staff units, where dragons were given adaptive damage and staffs were getting upgraded. We didn't even get any of that in book 3, and it just seems like a shame. We did get a ton of new refines, but we also got that for book 2, where it was a new feature unlike for book 3. Weapon refinement was actually a new thing that was added specifically for book 2, and it doesn't feel the same when we just get a bunch of new upgrades in book 3. I don't think I'm out of line when I say book 3 was just underwhelming and repetitive, and that's why I think beast units were the only good thing about book 3. At this point, I feel like the only thing that can save book 3 is the way that IS is trying to make the story feel different. But if the story just continues like this, it's just gonna be repetitive. I don't see why a new player would want to come into Fire Emblem Heroes just to play book 3. It feels the exact same. There's nothing to catch your eyes or like want an old player to return to Fire Emblem Heroes, because the content is the exact same. And the people that were saying the game is getting repetitive, well, nothing really changed with this update. Beast units is what I feel is going to be the final straw for a lot of old players. And I can only hope that IS can keep this game going for a lot longer, because I truly do love this game.